Namaste. I kindly welcome each one of you to collaborate in this global gathering with the chant of Om. Prayer to Mother India. O our Mother, O Soul of India, Mother who has never forsaken thy children, even in the days of darkest depression, even when they turned away from thy voice, served other masters and denied thee. Now, when they have arisen and the light is on thy face, in this dawn of thy liberation, in this great hour we salute thee. Guide us so that the horizon of freedom opening before us may be also a horizon of true greatness and of thy true life in the community of the nations. Guide us so that we may be always on the side of great ideals and show to men thy true visage as a leader in the ways of the Spirit and friend and helper of all the peoples. Prayer to Sri Aurobindo. To thee who has been the material envelope of our Master, to thee our infinite gratitude, before thee who has done so much for us, who has worked, struggled, suffered, hoped, endured so much, before thee who hast willed all, attempted all, prepared, achieved all for us, before thee we bow down and implore that we may never forget, even for a moment, all we owe to thee. Sri Aurobindo's The Human Cycle. A change of this kind, the change from mental and vital to the spiritual order of life must necessarily be accomplished in the individual and in a great number of individuals before it can lay any effective hold upon the community. The spirit in humanity discovers, develops, builds its formations first in the individual man. It is through the progressive and formative individual that it offers the discovery and the chance of a new self-creation to the mind of the race. For the communal mind holds things subconsciously at first, or if consciously, then in a confused, chaotic manner. It is only through the individual mind that the mass can arrive at a clear knowledge and creation of the thing it held in its subconscious self. Thinkers, historians, sociologists who belittle the individual and would like to lose him in the mass, or think of him chiefly as a cell, an atom, have got hold only of the obscurer side of the truth of nature's workings in humanity. It is because man is not like the material formations of nature or like the animal, because she intends in him a more and more conscious evolution. That individuality is so much developed in him and so absolutely important and indispensable. No doubt, what comes out in the individual and afterwards moves the mass must have been there already in the universal mind, and the individual is only an instrument for its manifestation, discovery, development. But he is an indispensable instrument, and an instrument not merely of subconscious nature, not merely of an instinctive urge that moves the mass, but more directly of the spirit, of whom that nature is itself the instrument and matrix of his creations. All great changes, therefore, find their first clear and effective power and their direct shaping force in the mind and spirit of an individual or of a limited number of individuals. talks of the mother, the soul of a nation. A nation is a living personality. It has a soul, even like a human individual. The soul of a nation is also a psychic being, that is to say, a conscious being, a formation out of the divine consciousness, and in direct contact with it, a power and aspect of Mahashakti. A nation is not merely the sum total of the individuals that compose it, but a collective personality of which the individuals are, as it were, cells, like the cells of a living and a conscious organism. But a collective personality of which the individuals are, as it were, cells, like the cells of a living and conscious organism. The psychic being or soul of a nation is indeed conscious. It knows its reason d'etre, its life purpose, its destiny, the role it has to play in the divine scheme as the divine instrument. And its will, for it has a will, the expression of its consciousness. The divine's impulse in and through it is inevitable. Sooner or later, it will fulfill itself. Even like the soul of a man, the nation's soul is behind all the movements that form its external life, supporting, building, guiding its political, economic, social, or cultural makeup. Even like the soul of a man, the nation's soul is behind all the movements that form its external life, supporting, building, guiding its political, economic, social, or cultural makeup. The individual can know of and come in contact with the nation's soul in and through his own soul. The individual can know of and come in contact with the nation's soul in and through his own soul. When one becomes conscious of a psychic being, then only One is in a condition to be conscious of the psychic being of the collective person of his nation or the nation with which he has inner affinity. There are periods in the life cycle of a nation, critical moments when it is in deadly peril, when its very existence is threatened, attacked by enemy forces either from within or from without. Such was the case when, for example, Britain was invaded by Spanish Armada, or when France was being subjugated by England. Those were very anxious times, but in each instance, the soul of the nation came forward and inspired the nation to react and go through the ordeal and survive. Jeanne d'Arc may be considered as the embodiment of France's national soul. As on a still earlier occasion, that same soul embodied itself in Saint Genevieve. But a nation may fall on much more evil days, namely, when it loses contact with its very soul, goes astray, its life movement taking a wrong curve. A nation can deny its soul, even as an individual may, and the result is disaster. Germany is a terrible example of such a tragedy in our own day. We do not believe that India was ever completely dead or hopelessly moribund. Her soul, although not always in front, was ever present as a living force, presiding over and guiding her destiny. That is why there is a perennial capacity for renewal in her and the capacity to go through dire ordeals. And to live up to her genius, she too must know how to march with the time. That is to say, not to cling to old and past forms. To be faithful to the ancient soul does not mean eternizing the external frames and formulas that express that soul one time or another. Indeed, the soul becomes alive and vigorous when it finds a new disposition of the life plan, which can embody and translate a fresh creative activity, a new fulfillment emanating from the depths of the soul. Chapter 10, Conscious Force, Sri Aurobindo's Life Divine. for the rest, it is impossible to ignore the drive of set purpose, the guidance of apparent blind tendency, the sure eventual or immediate coming to the target sought, which characterize the operations of world force in the animal, in the plant, in inanimate things. So long as matter was alpha and omega to the scientific mind, the reluctance to admit intelligence as the mother of intelligence was an honest scruple. But now it is no more than an outworn paradox to affirm the emergence of human consciousness, intelligence, and mastery out of an unintelligent, blindly driving unconsciousness in which no form or substance of them previously existed. Man's consciousness can be nothing else than a form of nature's consciousness. It is there in other involved forms below mind. It emerges in mind. It shall ascend into yet superior form beyond mind. For the force that builds the worlds is a conscious force. The force that builds the worlds is a conscious force. The existence which manifests itself in them is conscious being, and perfect emergence of its potentialities in form is the sole object which we can rationally conceive for its manifestation of this world of forms. Prayer. Burning brazier. To be the divine love, love powerful, infinite, unfathomable. In every activity, in all the worlds of being. It is for this we cry to Thee, O Lord. Let us be consumed with this love divine, love powerful, infinite, unfathomable. In every activity, in all the worlds of being, transmute us into that burning brazier so that all the atmosphere of earth may be purified with its flame. Oh, to be Thy love infinitely. Savitri, Book 2, The Book of the Traveler of the Worlds, page 291. The World Soul. Assuming the sudden loveliness of a face, and close glad hands could seize his fugitive feet, and the world change with the beauty of a smile into a wonderful bodiless realm he came, the home of a passion without name or voice, a depth he felt answering to every height. A nook was found that could embrace all worlds, a point that was conscious not of space, an hour eternal in the heart of time. The silent soul of all the world was there. The silent soul of all the world was there. A being lived, a presence and a power. A single person who was himself and all and cherished nature's sweet and dangerous throbs, transfigured into beats divine and pure. Dangerous throbs transfigured into beats divine and pure. One who could love without return for love, meeting and turning to the best, the worst. It healed the bitter cruelties of earth, transforming all experience to delight, intervening in the sorrowful paths of birth. It rocked the cradle of the cosmic child and stilled all weeping with its hand of joy, and stilled all weeping with its hand of joy. It led things evil towards their secret good. It turned racked falsehood into happy truth. Its power was to reveal divinity, infinite, coeval with the mind of God. It bore within itself a seed, a flame, a seed from which the eternal is newborn, a flame that cancels death in mortal things. All grew to all kindred and self and near. The intimacy of God was everywhere. No veil was felt, no brute barrier inert. Distance could not divide, time could not change. A fire of passion burned in spirit depths. A constant touch of sweetness linked all hearts. A constant touch of sweetness linked all hearts. The throb of one adoration, single bliss in a rapt ether of undying love. An inner happiness abode in all, a sense of universal harmonies, a measureless secure eternity of truth and beauty and good and joy made one. Here was the welling core of finite life. A formless spirit became the soul of form. Thanks for being with this oneness aspiration towards the Divine Mother. We carry this spirit and the flame and the joy to all and spread the light of the Divine Mother wherever we go. We carry it until we meet next time. Thanks for your participation. Greetings from Aurobindo, the city of dawn. We chant Om with gratitude. Thanks. We'll meet next time. Good night.